My name is Raffaella Carrera. I'm Italian. I'm a paper and books conservator. I'm very happy to be here because it's the first time for me to have a class, Egyptian class. And I'm not a teacher, by the way. I'm a real restorer, conservator. So usually I work in Italy in my laboratory. But now I'm here, and since 2007 I'm living in Cairo. My work is still in Italy, so sometimes I travel back. Today, thanks to Dr. Ali Taha, I have the opportunity to talk with you. I hope to give you some guidelines about restoration and to tell you about my experience and what I understood in this 20 years, because unfortunately I'm working since 1990, so I'm quite old already. And today the focus of my presentation is about the preservation, conservation and restoration. Normally these words are used to explain almost the same thing, but it's not real like that, because in the last 20 years the approach to restoration is completely changed. So let's start to have a look to this guideline, and you are welcome to ask any question also during my presentation. I don't want to that you wait until the end, because maybe you need some to clarify some explanation. So feel free to ask me anytime what you need that I explain you. Let's start. So first of all, let's talk about preservation. So can you go? What's preservation? Of course, you know that preventing damages is better than cure it. So prevention is better than cure. We need to reduce the rate of deterioration, and what we can do in the libraries, in the archives, but also in the museum and in the storage where the collections are stored. We need to choose carefully the display methods. We need to pay attention to the environmental condition, because as you know, most of the collection they have inside stuff that there are in wood, in paper, parchment. So all this material are biological material and can suffer a lot for change of climate. Too hot, too cold, too humid, less humidity, no humidity at all, like here in Cairo, that the climate is really dry. So we have to face this problem, and we have to start inside the place where the collection are stored. What else? Pest management. Pest management is very important, because in every place in the world we have to face problem with insects, with rodents. They can attack the collections. In a weather which is humid and hot, you will have also the problem to face like mold and fungus, because they can grow very easily. So this is very important. And last but not least, as we usually say, disaster preparedness. What means? As you know, disaster happen only sometimes, but when they happen, they call it disaster because it is really a disaster. So we have to be ready. We have to be ready. It means we cannot be sure when the event will happen, but we have to be organized before. So we have to have a group of people that is ready for the intervention. It means that we need to have a small group with the chief in charge that is going to organize the group. And we need to have a box somewhere, easy to find, with the stuff inside to use during the disaster. I'm talking about fire, water, earthquake, everything can destroy the collection. So after the official authorities do his work, because of course we have first to save the people, after that we have to save the collection. So why to don't keep in a corner a box with the supply that we will need during a disaster situation, like something to cover you, gloves, protecting goggles, and what else? Something to wrap, for example, the books, some blotting paper in case of water, floods, and so on. So this is very important, and most of the time in the place where collections are displayed or stored, nobody think about that. They just think when the disaster is already happened. Please, your name is Raghuda? Please, Raghuda, thank you. Conservation. The second step is conservation, and I think the meaning is, I explain it as examination, documentation, removing causes of deterioration, and protection solution for damaged objects. What I mean, you have to know what you have in your collection, and periodically you have to check your collection, because in this way you can immediately recognize the problems, so you can start the program of conservation and eventually restoration. So I write in red survey form. It's very important to have a group, and in this case that can be students, they can be people who is working in the place, to write down, to take all the information they can from the objects that they have in the collection, because maybe during this survey they can discover that there are insects, there are other damage like mice chew or rodents attack, so we can face immediately the problem. So this is very important, and they can start to put the object that they need urgent intervention in a corner, and ask for to do something. Normally, I'm talking about my Italian experience. For this, you need to ask we have a superintendenza, it means it's like Supreme Council of Antiquities. You need to ask for investment, you need to ask for help. Someone comes, and if you tell him, I have this problem in my library, in my museum, please do something, they are going to help you to find the money to do the work. So this is very important. So if you check your collection, you will be able to work on it in a very good way. General dusting or light cleaning. This is something very important. I'm used to work in my laboratory. That is very nice. I love it. It's great. But the most important work is the work that you do in the library before the object comes to the restoration laboratory. Because, as you know, restoration is a very invasive intervention on the object. And we don't want to change the object. We want to conserve and preserve the object. So this is completely different goal. If you periodically organize a careful cleaning of your collection will be in a good shape. And also you can, also in this, during this work, you can monitorize the situation and to understand what is the condition, the state of the objects. And dusting and cleaning cannot be done by normal cleaners. You cannot ask people that is cleaning the floor in the office to clean your library or your collection. Unfortunately, also in Italy, many times people don't understand that there is a big difference to clean a table, to clean a book or a collection. So for this, I went many times in the libraries as a restorer and conservator to supervise the cleaning. I did the cleaning many times. It's really hard work, but because we are a little bit strange, so we are people that we have this mission to help the antique to be preserved and conserved. So I did this work, hard work, with a very good feeling, because I was feeling I'm doing something really to help this collection. And it's something that I'm lucky to say, I'm lucky because my work is something that I love. So I love it also to clean, to dust, to be covered by dust, but to do something really, really important for the collection. Appropriate enclosure and display solution. Of course, especially when the collections are huge, you cannot have a correct enclosure for each single piece. But what we can do is to find a way to protect the collection with simple tips, with simple stuff that we can easily find, and using as let's give you example. If you in a library you have some books or documents really damages, and you don't have any money to spend in restoration, you don't have just to leave it like that, but maybe you can dusting carefully, asking every time with a supervise of a conservator, and then you can make an enclosure. But enclosure can be a simple folder, can be wrapped with pH neutral paper. Really can be a very simple stuff. You don't need to buy something from abroad to have the last model of enclosure. So this is very important. And yes, I skip fasteners removing. I'm talking about, I'm sorry, I don't know which is your field, but because I'm paper and books restoration, most of the examples are about the libraries and archives, so I hope it's not, it's okay, I'm not boring you with this, okay. Fasteners removing, because talking about enclosure, first we have to remove these metal clips, this rubber band that can be very dangerous for the collection, because you don't have to, if your book is going to destroy and the cover is detached and everything, don't use any tape, any adhesive, anything. Just put it in the envelope or wrap it with pH neutral paper and use the cotton tape. You know, never the rubber band, because the rubber band in a few years they have a degradation. They can do some damages. So careful. Please, I forgot your name. I'm sorry. Restoration. The last stage, restoration. We are talking about any kind of restoration, so small, medium, large scale of intervention. And why we did the restoration? To stop the process, but when the project is really in advanced stage. Because before we were trying to stop it with the conservation. So restoration when you cannot do anything with conservation. Restoration, it means also incorporation of replacement parts to stabilize the condition. So why we have to compensate the losses, not for to have a better shape paper or a piece of or statue, but only we have to use this intervention only when you need to stabilize the condition. And sometimes it's you have to do it because you have to I write down allow proper visual interpretation of an art object. And I was thinking about, it's not my field, but I was thinking about the archaeological site that you have in Egypt. Sometimes the archaeologists, they found stones that there are in the ground, and they study a lot, and they can reconstruct maybe a door or a temple, and they have only some stones. They don't have all the stones, so they can, but they know exactly where these stones were, so they can build something and insert the stone inside. So I'm thinking about that when you need a visual reconstruction, when you need to see the manufacture or the artifact in his original shape. But this is something that you have to think about carefully, because now with the new techniques you can do it with the virtual restoration. So you don't need all the time to reconstruct, also in the paper, you don't need all the time, if you have a piece like that, why you have to put around a big amount of paper to make the size, the original size of the document. Is the pen. Anytime you will face difficult choice to do, because you have studied a lot about conservation, so you know what is better to do. But every time you will have a different piece, so every time you have to make a decision. It's better to do that or do not do it, because sometimes it's better to do nothing, to just prepare a support or something where the object can stay and be preserved for the future. And خلاص. This is something that which is very important for me. Why normally people start asking for restoration, which must be the last stage. Normally in the library, because it's my experience, people call you when they have to restore, because they don't do anything before. So the collection is already damaged. They cannot do anything, so they call for restoration. And why this happened? First, because of disinformation and the underestimation of the problems. I'm sorry to say that very often the institution do not deal with the problems until the problems are really huge and urgent to solve. This is something that is better, as I told you before, during monitoring work as survey or dusting, that you immediately recognize your problem, because when the problems are small, there are small solutions. When the problems are big, the solution is very big. The second reason is the shortage of money for scheduled intervention. Every time you say this is the correct things to do, and people say yes, but we don't have any money, what we can do. The problem is that people trying to save money every year, but in few years they are going to spend a big amount of money because small work of dusting, cleaning, survey are cheap, and really you can do it periodically, every 1 year if you can, or every 2 years, and it's very important. But unfortunately it's difficult to change this way of thinking. And what I think that you, the young, will be the one that will start the new way to face the problem in the collection. So I'm sure that in the next, yes.
Doesn't your restoration going the process of condemnation after you are restored? Then after you convert as
You have, sorry, I cannot.
after the process,
Yes.
after you are restored, you will have to belong to preserve.
Yes, of course. This is a very good point, because our restoration intervention doesn't finish when you finish your work in the laboratory and the piece go back to the collection. Because if they store it in the wrong way, your piece will be damaged again. So it's really, this is a very good point. It's really important that the institution assure you that after restoration, the collection, it will be periodically controlled. For example, if I restore a parchment document, probably parchment, it's a biological support, and it's very sensitive to moisture and humidity. So if I restore a parchment which is was stored in a bad place with a lot of climate changes, hot, cold, humid, dry, and I in my laboratory I do all my best to go back to a good shape for the parchment, and they store it again in a too dry or too humid place. The parchment will be again cockling and doing all these problems that normally parchment have. So this is really, really very important to underline this. Thank you very much for your intervention. Okay, so we can go. So this is just to focus in brief: no maintenance, increase of causes of degradation, no scheduled investment, needs of huge amount of money after some time. So make your calculation. In this way, when you talk about money to the institution, they start to, okay, maybe you're right. So this is very important for you when you have to talk, or when you become, because maybe you will become a librarian, I don't know, curator of a museum, I don't know, maybe in your future you will face this kind of problem. Please? How restoration is changed? I think everybody knows that in the beginning restoration was completely different from a today view. Restoration was something like reconstruction, repainting, rebinding, rebuilding, with the goal to come back to the supposed original condition of the object. But what means that most of the time we did too invasive intervention. We change the story of the object. If you put new painting, if you rebuild, if you rebind, the object is another object. It's an object that has his life is changed completely. So in the last, let's say, really I can talk about Italy, but when I start was 20 years ago. Really, also in the institution, also the Supreme Council has different idea about restoration. Now the situation is completely changed because we have to preserve. Our goal is to preserve, to conserve, and also, in the object you have a lot of information. You have, you can, with the new technology, with the new analysis, you can probably discover where these objects were built or done, where the materials came from, because and this information you can only find it if the object is in the original shape. So this is a very important topic for me. Please. Restoration criticism. Maybe, I don't know if you saw this on the internet because it was on the newspaper. This lady, a Spanish lady, she tried to restore this Jesus portrait, and as you see, was a disaster. She started in a small part of the opera, and then she go, and she destroyed completely. It's not the same piece. Two different pieces. And this was an amateur, was not a professional restorer. But this is also history of a restoration. Between the 17th and the 80s, there was the restoration of the Sistine Chapel in St. Peter, Rome, the one painted by Michelangelo Buonarroti. And the restorer, the professional one, they choose to clean the frescoes because they thought that Michelangelo paint using the frescoes technique, and he didn't add anything a secco, which is another kind of painting. But in this case, I just move here just quickly. In this case, they removed the black shadow, they removed the dirt which was black, but they removed also the shadow, which you see here, and they removed the eyes. So if you see, I don't know if you can see from there, from the last row, they removed the eyes of this in some places. It was not, unfortunately, was only for some part of the painting. But so this is something that puts you to think about what we can do. Because the cleaning was the right cleaning, was not something that they do using strange chemicals. No, they were doing the normal cleaning for the correct cleaning. But in this case, was too much. So, please. Yes.
So you understand restoration or something?
I don't know. It's what is?
Bad restoration?
No. It was a good restoration, but actually was in the 60s and 70s. So the idea of restoration was an early idea, and they used the best way to clean, but they clean too much. So sometimes you don't have to clean. I mean, if you have a very nice print document and it's yellowing, but it's not yellowing because of acidity, it's not yellowing and it's not going to be destroyed in few years. So the shape is good. It's only the color that is not really good. But if you can read it, if you can look at it in all its parts, you don't need to use blanchant or something that only because you want it to be more white than. So this was something that probably this caused a lot of debate in the community of restoration, because someone say was a bad work, someone say no, they have to clean it, now you can enjoy the color that Michelangelo used at that time. So it's difficult, it's not black or white. You have to find the better way for the object. Historical restoration. I call this historical restoration. These in fact are books repair, but there is a big difference between these two books repair. The first one, it's probably someone who was taking care of the library and saw this book with the corner that was damaged. He put a big piece of tape and write with a pencil the title that is missing, or covering by probably there is a title under the adhesive and the tape. So this is something that is not compatible with the object, and probably the adhesive that is on this tape is going to damage the book. So in this case, we have to try to remove it, because it's something that is not good for the condition of the object. In the other case, I don't know. I'm sorry that the quality of the picture is not really good. In this case, you have old parchment. These oils are natural, because these oils are from the skin of the animal, are normal oils, this one. And this was a cut that probably happened and connected two oils. So what they did in the ancient times, they sewed, they used it. And this is something that is don't create any problem to the parchment, so we can keep it. And it's a story, it's part of the life of this document. So it's really important. Maybe you can analyze this sewing, and you can understand when it was done. So it's an additional information of your document. So it will be very important. You will write down a report about this. So I don't know if I explain correctly the difference between the two interventions. Why you have to remove and please.
When you start estimating now, will remove this past information?
Only this one. That one no. Because that one is not going to affect in any way the document.
But it's not nice.
It's not it's not well done, but it's historical. And you don't have to look what you like, what is nice for you. You have to look what is nice for the object. So this is something that okay, it's a little bit strange, but in this way, this document is unique. So this is another important thing. This is a really unique example. Are you bored? Okay. Ritual restoration. Sorry? Ritual restoration. We are very lucky today because we have a lot of instruments and we can use it for restoration. This is an example that I find on the internet, and as you can see, the two pictures, they look the same but are two different pieces. The first one is a damaged photo, and the second one is a perfect shape photo. What I want to underline with this example, that we can do virtual restoration, so we can keep the original one in this condition, which is not too bad because you can just put it in the appropriate enclosure and can stay in. And then you can have a copy that is maybe a scan copy, and you can work on it. You can add the colors, you can work on with the computer programs, and you can have the shape and the condition to the original one. But why we have to keep the original one? Because it's full of information for us. Which kind of paper they use. Maybe there is a name of the photographer or the man who print this picture. So we can do the virtual restoration and we can keep the original. And this is something that 20 years ago we cannot do. So it's something that really changed the way to face the problem of restoration. Yes? Yes, this is a difficult step. Let's say that you have to think to do the minimum every time. So if you're going to be too invasive with your treatment, don't do it. And find a way to preserve the original without overwork on it, without using, for example, colors or anything. We can use this with the virtual restoration, and also what we can do with the virtual restoration. You can try. If it's not good, you can cancel. It's only a computer simulation. So this is. Most.
So I'm not going to do it, and I'm going to do another paper.
For the monuments, it's probably a little bit different. For this, I'm sorry because my field is paper and books and parchment, so I don't have any experience on that. But I think that also in the monument, and maybe Dr. Taha can also say something about that, maybe later on the next, if you want to go in deep on this question. But also in the monument, I think they use a lot. And for example, this is a project by Enea, which is the Italian Center for New Technology, Energy and Environment. This is a cuneiform tablet. Maybe you know it's one of the very famous pieces that we have from ancient times. And she's broken in 3 pieces. So what they did with the new technology, they reconstruct and they can have a 3D piece. So for the studies, you can use to don't damage the original. You can give to the one that are studied the cuneiform, the copy. And this is the same for the document. Many times I restore big maps that were stored in the major house. In Italy we have anyway. Yes. And they were used until now. They were Napoleonic maps, but they are the real maps of the land. So all the city, all the lands are in these maps, which are very important for the architect, for the technician that are working on the urbanization. What we did, we restored the maps, the original one, and we prepare a copy to use for the people who are normally use this kind of object, because if they continue using, they will destroy it again. So we keep the original one, and of course, if someone needs to do some analysis on the original, we have it. But for the normal use, let's call it like that, you have a copy, a perfect copy. And really now with the new technology, you can have also 3D copy. Your question is about monuments, so I'm not sure, but I know that also.
On which basis do I say I'm going to store or not going to?
For this, you know, to find a solution, you will find it with experience, because after years of experience, you will start to immediately understand what is better, if do it or not do it, and really it will be automatic. Yes. Yes. This is also a good point. If you don't have the best way to restore, just conserve it, and then is the reason because all these restoration interventions must be reversible. I don't know about architectonic, but about paper and parchment, every single piece we add to the document can be removed in an easy way. If you add something, we use a glue called methylcellulose. Methylcellulose is can be completely dissolved in water. So if you just put the document in water, the piece that you have had is going out. So you have the original shape, you have the original document. Why we did that? Because at first, when people start to restore, they add parts using a very strong glue, like the white glue that which is used with wood and so on. And you cannot remove it. I mean, it's very, very difficult, because sometimes you have to try to remove it, And after a few years, they discovered that it was better to use methylcellulose. And maybe after some years, they will discover that there is another thing better than methylcellulose. So we need to be ready to remove our old intervention to do the better one in the future. Please, do you want to say something? No. Biological restoration. What do you mean about biological? Yes. You use something that is completely compatible with the structure of the paper. I'm using enzymes. Yes. There are a lot of new stuff, and yes, it's amazing, because all the time, and we try to be up to date. I use it really few times, because as I told, there are some I don't know. Actually, I don't know if we can classify as enzyme. The thing I'm using is I don't know how to say, saliva artificiale. I don't know in Italian. It's saliva. Yes, it's and it's not properly enzyme, because but it's working to have to clean. So it's something that works as an enzyme. I don't remember. I am trying to remember another example. But as I told you, we will see it. Maybe you can go with another, because it's not. I will say it later. The way how the restoration is changed is also we remove all the chemicals. We are not using natural and yes, I know what you mean, but really maybe I use it once and I cannot say. I want to be precise, so I will not say something that is not exactly what I'm. Yes, for this, in Italy we have in Rome a laboratory that is working on it, is testing all the new stuff that restorers are using nowadays for restoration. And all the time they prepare newsletters and articles about the experiment. So for us, we just follow their suggestions, because we cannot. I mean, if I am a restorer, I cannot do the chemical work, because if not I have to have plenty of time and a double of the salary, because Sorry? Yes. Yes. Has no side effects. Yes. So this is the right way. I think they start to talk about eco restoration. So use ecological products to biological and ecological products. Yes. Thank you very much. So what the conservator can do, because I'm keep on saying don't do that, don't do too much. So what we can do, we can try to continue studying, of course, and exchange opinions with colleagues. So this is very important, because all the time you have your experience, most of your knowledge about the restoration, you will have it with your experience. So if you talk with your colleagues, you will have the double of experience, because you can share. This is the first point. You can be an expert consultant for librarian, archivist, and people who are in charge for the collection. And this is something that you cannot do yourself, but you can suggest to the institution to help the exchange of information between conservator and curator and librarians and people who are taking care of the collection, because they can give you a lot of information. When you go, you don't only take this object, I restore it, and then back. When you arrive, you have to discover where this object is stored, and which is the environment, which is the story of the object. Maybe the librarian or the curator knows about, they do some treatment before, so it's going to give you a lot of important information. And you can suggest the curator what they have to do after the restoration and for the management of the entire collection. As we say before, the restoration doesn't finish with the object restored. The object is going to be back, so we have to take care of the object also after. It's a long process, and it's a continual relation with the object. Be ready to adapt to the different situation. Yes, this is something that you will learn by experience, because all the time you will face different situations. For example, I'm going to go to Aswan in May, inshallah, because there a collection of documents about move of the Nubian temple for when they build the Aswan Dam, the big dam. And you know, they cut the temple, they move it up because of the water which was coming. And this place is like a deposit. All the paper are in a room, no order, no catalog, nothing. They are in very bad condition because they are a recent document, because you know the dam was in the 60s, and so the paper is wood paper, is not a good quality, so is darkening, wrinkling, everything you can think is going on this document. And when I entered the archive, they told me, so we can do some restoration. I told them, restoration? You have to start from the first step. So the first step, I told them, you have a catalog, there is an inventory of this. They told me no. So you have to fill in before, because you have to know what is in the collection. They told me no, we cannot start with this because of the condition, and we are going to make a digitization of the document, but so in the book, when you read, they say if there is an archive, first you have to fill in and do the inventory and everything. In this case, we can't. So you have to change your way to think. And I decided to start with intervention, emergency intervention. So we will do something that will put the document in a correct and better condition, and then they will call the archivist, and then they will call people that is going to digitize the document. So every time you have to be ready to change your, don't just use your books and do what is written in the book. Every time you will face different, yes please.
Is there anything like the case in the people anything
there is. Sorry, there is any? Yes. You know, all the time of course, you know, if we are talking about the restoration intervention, of course, before use water or glue with water in a document, you have to clean it from the dust before, because if you use also the methyl cellulose in a document that is dirt, the dirt is not going to go, because with the water the dust will penetrate the fibers of the paper, and you cannot remove it before. So I don't know if I understood your question. If there is a sequence of intervention starting from and then go and then go, yes, and then go. Yes, this is what I'm going to do in Aswan. So we will start with the simple way to handling, to clean, to build the enclosures and everything. International standard for general. There is a lot of documentation. You know. International standard means what we were talking about before. So what is the ethical rule of restoration? What you have to do, what you don't have to do. But every field, I mean, I normally, when I'm looking for some up-to-date articles, I find a lot of work in my field. I mean, I will read about paper parchment restoration, so because I need to know what I have to do in my field or with my objects. I don't know, maybe I Yes, Yes, it's a difficult topic because not only you have a different field, you have architectonical, you have paintings, you have paper, you have everything, wood, textile, everything. But every single piece is a different piece. So you cannot always start in the same way. I mean, the dusting, of course, the removing, the dry removing of course, this is the same for all the pieces. But then you have to decide case by case. Unfortunately, this I think is the good thing of our work. We cannot get bored because we have always to be ready. What we have to choose, and you can really find. If you don't have any idea, you can consult your colleagues or go in the internet. In the internet, you will find a lot of suggestions. There are a forum and everything. So. Unfortunately, you cannot classify. It's difficult in restoration, classify, do that, and that, because it's not, every time you have to face different problems. Please, we are almost done. So we talk already of this, blah, blah, blah. Yes, I was thinking about this. I give some, here I give some explanation about to continue your study and everything. And I write, in the last 20 years, many operations have changed. For example, now we work a lot with bound books. Before, when I started, all the time, people were cutting and open and remove the cover and work in a single folio to have. I mean, it's more easy to work in a single sheet of paper, but it's not good for the book because you are going to renew too much the book. So now we work. We do small restoration on the book, which is very difficult because you don't have to do stains in the paper, and most of the chemical products were abandoned. I don't know if you know about controlled atmosphere disinfestation, because this is a very, very interesting way to face the problem of insects for all the objects, paper, wood, so statues, books, painting. It's very simple and don't use any chemicals. It's facing a biological problem because what you have to do if, for example, you have an insect attack in your library or in your collection on wood, also in big, they do it also with furniture. They prepare a bag, they cover the piece in a bag, and they use the vacuum. They have a special vacuum to remove the oxygen and anoxin, yes, and to keep it around the 4% of oxygen inside you, because you cannot go to the complete vacuum. If not, you will destroy the object. And then they take from the air the azoto. Azoto is one of the components of the breathing. No, it's the azoto. It's something. It's a gas that is in the air that we breathe. I forgot in English. Anyway, this gas, you have this tube. It's an inert gas. It's not a dangerous gas. It's something that we breathe every day. So it's not. This gas is only to keep the oxygen level inside the bag, which your object is inside. For 20, sorry? No. Nitrogen is another thing. No, I'm thinking about. No, because if you talk together, I cannot.
النيتروجين عند الهيليوم إلا الجاز must be kept in the gas showing case. Further information using dioxide.
The dioxide, yes.
For fumigation.
No fumigation. Yes. No, this is where the old way to do it, and very dangerous because you use dangerous gas. Azoto. No, not that. Because in the way was used before, you use gas which were dangerous for the people that you cannot breathe it.
Using gas. What they using gas.
For the disinfestation against insect and biological attack of the object. And no, but what I want to say is that the process is you put the object, for example, this in the bag. You close the bag and you remove all the air until the percentage of oxygen is 4%. To keep the percentage to 4, you can add, taking from the air that is around, the azoto, and Ali is looking for, and for 21, normally it's for 21 days, because this is in this cycle, all the insects, all the biological will die. So when and this is really something that you don't have to clean your object after the treatment, because you don't use any gas, anything that like fumigation that is very dangerous and penetrate the fibers and enter in the object. So this is something that's easy to do because you don't need to have a big machine. You can do it also without, because for to put this gas inside there is a machine. But if you don't have a machine, they sell like tablets that are controlling the oxygen, that are taking the oxygen. So the most important thing is like more or less, no, this is for humidity. Yes, no, I'm talking about something that is a product for the oxygen. And this is very easy, and you can do it in the library. Normally in Italy, I remember when I start working, they do with ethylene oxide, this kind of disinfestation, and was really dangerous. So what they did, they bring the books, they put it in a truck, a special truck with this. They go far away, because for law in Italy you have to be, I don't remember, it was 10 or 15 kilometers for any inhabited center. Go out, do the treatment do the treatment, and then after the treatment, because the gas enter the paper, they have to, they call it air wash. They wash it with fresh air for maybe 3 or 4 times, and then the papers go back to the collection. But the problem is you cannot remove in a book which is maybe 500 sheets, you cannot remove all the trace of this gas. So what happened in Italy, we have a lot of people that was working in the library and had cancer because they breathe this gas. Because if you have really small particles of this gas in a piece of paper, but if you multiply this for millions of paper that there are in a collection, you will breathe this gas for years. So this is.
Cancer in the
Yes, they have a breathing system cancer, and other kind of cancer was really a big problem. So they start to research about how to do it in an ecological way, non-dangerous. So this is a very sorry. No, radiation. No, this is really simple and really safe for the collection first, but also for the people, which is not bad. I mean, why we have to die to save the collection? Sorry? Eco-friendly, yes, it's right. Okay, let's go. Be an expert, yes, we talked before about that. Please, because can you go ahead, because we already talked about be ready the different situation. Yes, I write it. Never be afraid to ask. It's the only way to learn. So when you have to face a new situation, we don't know what to do because in your books you don't have any answer, ask to the colleague, and now we have the internet, so find your way and you will learn more. Thank you.